Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are unpacking a wealth building principle that is, well, super easy to understand on paper, but shockingly hard to actually execute in real life. We're going to skip the boring textbook definitions and dive straight into the data to prove exactly why time is, without a doubt, your absolute greatest financial lever. So, how can investing less money actually make you richer? I know, at first glance, it sounds totally backwards, right? We're all wired to think that what you put in directly matches what you get out. But here's the secret. Wealth doesn't grow in a straight line. It operates on a nonlinear curve, and once you truly internalize how that curve behaves, it'll completely change the way you look at capital. But before we get into the math, we've got to talk about the psychology for a second. I'll start investing later, I just don't have the cash right now. Man, that is such a pervasive mindset trap. We all do it. We wait for that big windfall or a huge promotion to finally start. But holding off doesn't just delay your deposits, it literally flattens out the exponential growth curve of your wealth over the long haul. The actual mechanics going on here are pretty straightforward. Simple interest is linear. You earn a bit on your base amount, step by step by step. But compound interest, that acts like a giant snowball rolling down a massive hill. It gathers snow kind of slowly at the top, but as its surface area expands, it accelerates into this absolute boulder, just feeding off its own newly acquired mass. So it's not just about adding funds, it's about your money actively multiplying over time. And listen to this because it's absolutely crucial. The most important variable here isn't the interest rate. And actually, scratch that. It isn't even how much cash you start with. It's time. Time in the market. That sustained, uninterrupted duration is what actually sparks that explosive momentum you need to build serious wealth. Okay, let's move into part one and look at the actual proof using two hypothetical investors, Ram and Shyam. Now this setup is super interesting. Take Ram. He starts at age 25, puts in just $50 a month, but then completely stops after only 10 years. He just stops. Now look at Shyam. He waits until he's 35, but then he commits that exact same $50 a month for a whopping 30 continuous years. And yet, look at the result. Ram's final wealth completely towers over Shyam's. Assuming they both get the exact same growth rate, Shyam was paying out of pocket for 2 full decades longer, but Ram still ends up with way more money at retirement. Why? Because that 10-year head start gave the exponential multiplication the time it needed to do the heavy lifting, totally outpacing Shyam's much larger out-of-pocket contribution. It's wild, right? All right, let's jump into section 2. This is a brilliant math shortcut known as the Rule of 72. Just lock this number in your brain right now, 72. In the finance world, this is a legendary little hack used to figure out exactly how fast an investment is going to double in size. And the formula is, well, it's incredibly simple. Step 1, you just take the number 72. Step 2, you divide it by your expected annual interest rate. So let's say you're looking at a pretty solid investment with an expected return of, say, 12% annually. Well, 72 divided by 12 equals exactly 6, meaning it's going to take roughly 6 years for your money to magically double on its own without you lifting a finger. 10 grand becomes 20 grand in 6 years, then 40 grand 6 years after that. The Rule of 72 basically lets you track the speed of your compounding snowball on the fly. No giant complicated spreadsheets required. That brings us to section 3, our ultimate takeaway for this explainer. If you only remember one thing, make it this. Time is a significantly bigger weapon than your starting capital. The data makes it crystal clear. Waiting around to accumulate a big chunk of money is literally a statistically losing strategy compared to just investing a tiny amount right now. You've got to start today with whatever spare change you have to give time the long runway it desperately needs to work its magic. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Knowing that every single day you delay is actively costing you massive exponential growth in the future, and knowing you absolutely do not need a huge bankroll to trigger this snowball effect, what exactly is stopping you from starting today? The math is undeniable, but that clock, it's always ticking.